Thank you for joining us on our Family First Life Tri-State Serve the People podcast. We appreciate you tuning in, spending your time to develop and grow with us. Follow us, please, on all our social media platforms at Family First Life Tri-State or FFL Tri-State. We love you. Keep listening, and I hope this information is serving you across the country. All right, everybody, thank you for jumping on with us for our Tri-State Trends podcast. I got my man Chris Stout, very new to us with FFL, but, got a chance to join us through FFL Health and Wealth and working with Giovanni and been down to convention, came back up, and I definitely wanted to get some insights from him on some things that he is focused on for 2022. But before I do that, Chris, number one, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. Better than I deserve.
My man. And, Chris, I want to introduce you to our audience and kind of get a feel for, some of the things you did prior to this, where you came from and how you found us. So if you can go down your story just a bit, that'd really be helpful. I appreciate it.
All right. So I had, came from a practice company. Not going to say their name, obviously, on the podcast, but I was with them for about 4.5, almost 5 years. And it was all warm market, all production through recruiting. And the maximum compensation was 65%.
Wow. Jeez.
And you start off at 25%. And, it's interesting. I mean, I made that work. I'm grateful for that opportunity as well, by the way. I wouldn't be here without that foundation, I guess. But, it's just interesting. You only think there's one way of doing things. And then when you broaden your perspective, I feel like just asking the right questions, being curious, always thinking, hey, is there a better way? Is there a better way? Being hungry for, just better ways to do business as things evolve around us. I think that ultimately led me to asking the questions, which gave me the answers that led me here. So, yeah.
Nice. Now, Giordano is, is decorated. He's the number one producer in all the land. He helps more families than small countries. But how'd you find him?
With the practice company, I was there for 5 years. I got to the top contract in 2 years. And, I made six figures there. I had a multiple six-figure team. And that's with no leads at all and with a low compensation.
Wow.
Doing that, of course, if we were to we had a lot of roots there, right? And I know you're all about seeds. I'm all about roots.
I like that.
I think the roots create the fruits, right? So, so I just started asking the right questions to find out, like, all the symptoms of what was frustrating to me in the business, where are all those symptoms rooted, right? And I just eventually, again, that led me to FFL. So the first thing I did, of course, I came over, we had a team, right? And they decided to make the transition as well. My best friend, and outside of my wife, my best friend and my business partner, Morgan Stinchfield, I just texted him over Christmas break and I said, hey, I'm leaving. Practice company's name, insert that there. I just said, simple text. I just said, I'm leaving blank. And, of course, we're always trying to convince each other not to quit, things like that, right? when we're frustrated in the business, right? Because everybody gets frustrated. So he goes into that mode, and I just let him marinate on it, right? I just planted the seed, right, and let it go.
The roots.
And I sent him a podcast, the one with Brad Lee on FFL USA. I sent him that podcast, and 2 days later, I just stuck to that, right? Like, I'm leaving. Just listen to this. I'm leaving. Just listen to this. Send him a podcast. 2 days later, he's like, well, if we're going to the number one guy in the company, because of course we want to work with the best, right?
Got it.
And so he found Steve through a podcast, so it was kind of like me who found the company and the platform and the what we're looking for. In a company, in a business perspective. And then then he narrowed that down further to the guy. And there was a couple candidates, actually. It wasn't just Steve. And we actually interviewed with a few different agency owners, a few different people. And then there were several others that were just very helpful in answering a lot of questions that, have transitioned prior to us. And I'm just grateful for everybody for being so open to help and answer all of our questions. But we landed with Steve because, to be honest, he didn't make it feel like he needs us at all. And we could tell, like, any support we get from him, anything that we get from him, it's genuine. He doesn't need anybody to be successful. He's obviously doing it on his own, right? So it's coming from a place of not necessarily, needing us to be successful, to ride off of us as his team, which in the practice company, a lot of people do that.
Right. That makes sense.
And that's something where it's like, okay, I like that because there's transparency, right? And at the end of the day, we're all men. We're all, in business together, but at the end of the day, we're in business for ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. Like, my priority is my faith and my family.
Right.
I don't need somebody that's, trying to manage me. Right. If that makes sense.
100%.
What I just need is just, hey, let's support each other. I'm going to perform, and when we need tools and resources and things like that, give me the resources and I'll make something out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, real business partnership feeling.
Yeah, and that's what we thrive on here. I'm sure you've experienced that in your short time here. Listen, man, if you know what you're doing, you don't need a lot of help, or you just need a little guidance. That's what we want to do, The last thing we want to do is try to come in and blast your deal. Like, at the end of the day, you got to run your deal, and that's what we preach, and it's empowering to a lot of people. It's not to others, but you're the type that it empowers, right? So it's a great story. Giordano, it pays. It pays, brother. They want to work with the number one guy. So you enter into FFL, and you get the lay of the land. Did you find when you came over? Did you find that it was everything that you researched, or was it more? Was it less?
To be honest with you, just complete transparency, and I don't want to fluff it up. It's exactly what we researched. It's, we did our homework, and we had a lot of experience in the industry. And so, it's pretty simple to understand, it's like, and it makes sense. I will say that the deeper that we dig, the better it seems to get. And so, as far as integrity, the more that I learn about that, there's just a lot of nuanced stuff that supports what we found and what we were looking for. But the main concept of the business is what we were looking for. And we knew the thing is, we came in knowing what we wanted.
Right.
And we knew that and in order to make the transition, we needed to know that we found it before making the transition.
I like that.
So we had all our facts lined up ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like, we did a lot of research. Listened to dozens of the podcasts and comparing things, and asking questions to people that have made the transition before, people that have just started here and been successful here. Interviewed several different, agency owners, asked them hard questions. We weren't coming over here riding off of the excitement of like something better. We were coming over here like looking at it from a straight up business perspective. Like, hey, when we break this down and we break down what we're currently doing, what makes more sense from a business perspective? Like, it was pretty much like a very objective business decision.
I love it.
So having that, having all that laid out ahead of time, it's like we knew what we were getting into. I will say that coming over, some of the things that have gotten better is I didn't realize how much you guys are looking to expand into the advanced markets more. Obviously we're already doing great with advanced markets, which is why we have Sean Ruggiero, that whole system, that whole side of things. Yeah. I didn't realize until convention that it's pretty clear. Like the first day of convention, that it was pretty much like all talking about advanced markets. It's pretty clear that we're trying to expand pretty aggressively into that space.
No doubt.
And I feel like, for me personally, I feel like God kind of gave me a vision where it's like, that's where we're going to be a huge asset.
Nice.
Is in that space specifically.
Awesome. And you like the IUL, huh?
Dude, you could put me in front of a room full of 100 CPAs, and they'll walk out wanting IULs and wanting to learn more. I love the IULs. I love the tax strategies. I love the mission of like protecting families.
Right.
I also love the mission of protecting retirements and assets, and protecting people's wealth from overtaxation, from market risk, from all the different things, and making sure that not only can grandma, if she passes away, leave behind something to take care and bury her. That's very important. But also, in the book of James, it says to take care of the widows and the orphans, right? I also want to make sure that grandma can enjoy her retirement with her grandkids, right? Where she's not worried about money, where she's not worried about outliving her money. Where Uncle Sam's not ripping her pockets inside out with taxes because we took care of that.
Right.
Where if she needs long-term care, it's funny that, a mom can raise 3 kids, but then 3 kids can't take care of mom when she needs long-term care. You know what I mean? So there's just, and I like to say, when it comes to long-term care and like getting the right living benefits and all that kind of stuff, it's like, when it comes to life insurance is really just for people that love their families.
Right.
But for people that don't love their families, they should definitely get long-term care and living benefits, because their families aren't going to want to take care of it.
You've been using that a while. I can tell.
You know what I mean?
Cool,
so
man.
there's just a lot, in all that side of things that I feel like it's a need, and I love seeing the light bulb come on with people.
Yeah.
And I love that we can increase their quality of life while they're still here.
Amen. With
the right types of advanced market stuff, and then when they're gone, we can make sure that they're not a burden on their family at the same time. So there's 2 sides to that coin. Strong.
When you think back to convention, you're fresh off convention, but your time there over 3-4 days, what were some takeaways for you?
I'll tell you the number one thing that I appreciated about convention, and I don't know if you guys are in this boat as well, but we did all virtual for the last 2 years. And we were able to expand our team into like 5, 6, 7 different states. And it was so cool just to be able to get everybody together. We got a big Airbnb, we got a lot of A-type people. So, we had like 10 people in our Airbnb. We had several of us like doing jujitsu at night, and like, like we got some like action kind of guys, some prior military guys, some just different group of people. And it was just really awesome to get everybody together, to see that team bonding happen, to see, just people rubbing elbows, and then to get together with Steve and you and walk in and meet you in person. And it was a good experience overall. Going to the dinner that we had at what was that restaurant? Forget the name of it.
Toro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going to dinner there and walking in. There was 2 things I realized. Number one was, I just like being around you guys, right? It's just, you guys are my type of people. I like being around you guys. It's
we felt the same way.
A good feel. Appreciate that. And then the second thing is, we walked in with a pretty big team, and it was like, okay, this is pretty cool. It didn't seem like you need 1,000 people on your team to win big here.
Right.
So coming in with 20, I think it was 21 people we had that night, walking into that dinner at Toro on our team that we just started,
Right.
Like coming in here, it's like, wow, we're a pretty good size of the group, but if everybody's already winning at these times doing this, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are really doing good. This.
That's very astute. I like that.
Even the whole convention. It was like, from the practice company, we'd filled 2 giant, massive arenas full of people, and it felt like there wasn't that many people winning, and there wasn't as much volume per agency, I guess you could say, or per, let's say per 10 agents or something. Here, it's like, you see, it's kind of mind-blowing how so much volume is happening and so much business is being done. So many families are being protected, so many retirements, all these things, with only this amount of people. So some people might have seen that as a bad thing. Like, they're, hey, we're not, a massive company yet. I see it as it's an opportunity. It's like, not only are we getting into the ground floor, but I like the fact that we don't need thousands of people. It was kind of relieving,
Dude,
I'm an introvert, so less people is good for me.
An introvert recruiter. Got it. Using the takeaway strategy, Stout. Not a bad play. So when you look at 2022 and the landscape of, you, your team, what are some things that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I want to have at least 5 people hit Hall of Fame. At least 5.
Nice.
Out of our agency. Personally, hitting Hall of Fame inside of 6 months, worst case scenario, because I've got to obviously set the example. I know that we're gonna have a lot of people on our team that are, running and gunning, and they're gonna be starting off. Like, I actually recruited 3 people this morning direct to me.
Nice.
Put them in the system, into licensing, and then I just had another direct to get licensed. Just got her license, and she's starting contracting as of last night. So I'm in an expansion mode for sure. I'm a builder when it comes to our goals and things like that. So I have my individual goals. I also have team goals. And I'll tell you this, my primary goal is I want to be the #1 producer for advanced market sales, me personally. So that's my personal goal this year.
I think I saw that somewhere. Was that you? Where'd you? Oh, was that in an email, or did you write that on a post somewhere? Or did Giordano? I think Giordano told me that.
Maybe I emailed somebody with advanced markets for something. I just submitted some business yesterday with a fiend, and I emailed. I was looking for the portal on how to submit it or whatever, and I titled it #1 advanced market producer.
Yeah, that was something he told me. That's crazy. That's boss.
But I mean, I know my expertise, and I know that of course I'll work everything, but at the same time, I'm just confident I'm going to do that. I'm going to be the #1 advanced market sales producer in the company. That's where I'm gonna thrive. And then and then we want to get to 100 licensed agents as soon as possible. I would absolutely love to do that inside the next 6 to 9 months.
Nice. That's strong. A lot of guys coming on, fired up. Again, it's you, and you've got some leaders with you that are also helping push the pile, yes?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's where those call them the savages, right? Guys, there's a few people that are just savage on our team.
I love it.
And I mean that in a good way, where they'll just go out there and kill it. I mean, anything, they're gonna close. They're gonna make things happen. I think we have a lot of people that are just. It's funny because there's some people that were in the company with us before that didn't do a whole lot there, because warm market systems rely heavily on influence. And if you don't have influence over people or the ability to gain influence over people with influence, it's hard to run that kind of system and be profitable,
That's huge, bro.
Long term. So in order to do that, you got to be like a really good speaker. You got to be really good at emotionally intelligent. You got to be able to, psychology. And then on top of that, be an expert at solving problems and presenting problems and then solutions and solving them, right? So especially because it's all advanced market stuff where we came from. So a lot of our guys were kind of trying really hard to get off the ground. And here, first week going in the field, they're closing 3-4 policies, And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I wish that I had something to give them like that before.
Why do you think that is? We'll wrap with that. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think it's because of the leads. #1, I mean, just being able to buy leads.
Yep.
But being able to buy leads is a big deal, because that makes up for the ability to gain influence, right? So instead of spending 90% of your time trying to prospect people, trying to gain influence, trying to get into warm markets, get into referral markets, stuff like that, and then 10% of your time actually closing. Right. Now it's like, okay, now it's the other way around.
Yeah.
You can spend 90% of your time calling leads and getting in front of them, and it just makes sense. You know what I mean? So and then 10% of your time do that extra prospecting and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's where it's just getting them to be able to just focus on those the closing activities, and I guess as you guys say, like fill orders. You know, in 100 leads. I mean, yeah, you're going to get pushback. You're going to get some stuff you got to deal with, but then at the same time, there's going to be those few people in there that really do just want you to fill their order. You know, and I think that some of these guys on the team are finding that out pretty quickly.
No doubt.
Then on top of that, those savage guys, I call them like our special forces unit within the team. You know, not only are they able to do that, but you know, I know with these advanced market sales as well, they're going to absolutely be crushing that as well, which is just, you know, piling wood on the fire. So, yeah, man, we're excited.
Makes sense, man. I like talking to you, dude. You got a real business, you know, savvy, business acumen head on your shoulders. You break things down real well from an analogous standpoint. So thank you for jumping on with us. We're Tri-State Trending here. My man, Chris Stout. I'm looking for big things from y'all this year, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, man, and thanks for having us on the team.
Absolutely. Excited to have you guys. Excited to see what's going to happen. So thanks for listening, everybody. Let's hammer down. Let's make it a big week. Keep crushing it. Thank you. Thanks, Chris.